Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this Monday morning webinar. We are here at 11 o'clock and we are in conversation today with some very exciting, I'm going to get straight in there and use the word inspirational and pretty amazing people. So I've got my cup of tea right here with me for 11s. I don't know if you are, but please go and get yourself a nice cuppa and a biscuit if you're watching us live, and then you can enjoy hearing us all talk together. So I'm just going to invite, we firstly got Precious Jason from Etieno Skincare, who has been running her business for just a few years, and we have said that it is a conversation between two cancer survivors, and actually as a result of part of our conversation, we'd also been talking with the brilliant Frances Kane from A Girl for All Time. So what we thought would be great is actually to get all three of us on screen together. So it's sort of a conversation between three cancer survivors, actually. And what that means is that we're going to use the time to ask each other questions and to really have a think about what it's been like to start our businesses during a cancer experience, after a cancer experience, as part of that cancer experience. So we will use the time, and as you can see on the webinar screen, you'll probably have a shot of me, and then you've got questions down the side, or a little panel down the side. You can ask us any questions live if you'd like to, about what it's been like for you to start your own business. And we'll also have some really interesting ways of thinking about what it's been like to have your own business, and what inspires you when you want to start a business too. So we're going to just get Frances and Precious on in a second. We did have a little test webinar to see whether it would work, and it did work, which is very exciting. But you never know with live. Yay, there's Precious. There she is. Hello, how are you doing, Precious?
I'm good, Emily.
I'm very well, thank you very much. Do you have your cup of tea?
No.
Why not? Why on earth not?
No, I've got so much work today, so my brain is just, yeah, the cup of tea will come later on, though. So that will be my treat.
Maybe after we're on screen, I'll allow you that.
Okay.
So Precious, because we've got you on screen now, what I thought would be really nice is, whilst I invite Frances to come on so we can get her on with us, would you tell us firstly what your business is for anyone that doesn't know?
Hi, everyone. I'm Precious, and my business is, what is it again? Natural skincare products for post-cancer skin. So I created the business when I finished treatment for CML, and I noticed my skin was really dry and damaged and really sensitive. So I wasn't able to go back to the stuff I used to use before. So I decided to create something natural and safe that we could all use when we finish treatment. So everything is natural, everything is safe, and I think it smells really nice too.
Just as an added, I'm sure you've had feedback that they smell very nice too, don't they?
Yeah, I have, and we just launched a new product, the Regenerate Hair Oil, which I have to say is my favorite because it smells really nice, and I tend to use it on my skin as well. It's that safe, so I tend to use it on my skin. So if I want an instant flowery hit, then I use the hair oil. So it's getting, yeah, I love the feedback. I actually took it out on the road and got people sniffing. And yeah, the guys loved it too.
Well, actually, that's a fair point. Who do you get buying your products?
Everyone, men and women. I initially wanted it to be an all-girl brand, but there are guys who love geraniums and roses and mandarins. So yeah, if it makes them happy, then they can have it.
And would you tell us a bit about? I'm also gonna use the word. So here we go. We have to do some sort of like disclaimer about the words we're going to use. I've already used the word inspirational. I'm going to use the word journey. Can you give us a background to the journey of your business from where it started to where it is now, and how the sort of timeline of that as well?
I will allow the word journey because it's you, but I don't like the word journey. My head is like, people just think you're on an Islam journey and everybody is singing Kumbaya and we're going somewhere, and it doesn't make any sense. It's not like that. But because of you, I used the word journey. I trained as a lawyer and a company secretary. So I had a corporate life, but my thing was always beauty products. So my first dream as a child was botany, because I loved playing with plants and flowers. But I come from an African family, and if you're African, there's no chance. Botany, it's nothing. So I had. Sorry?
What does a botanist do? Or a botanist?
In my mind, they play with plants. In my head, they play with plants, run around in fields and, harvest stuff and sniff stuff. So that was my thing when I was growing up. I was a child who would always look at a herbal remedy for something. So anything from colds to nausea, I'd know something. So that was me. But yeah, like I said, I have African parents. I was given 4 options. One was medicine, accounting, law, or engineering. I failed physics. I failed physics really badly. So the medicine was out of the way. Engineering was out. I didn't really like maths. So accounting was just ruled out. So I just thought, okay, I do like literature. So yeah, I'll just do law, because that's about the only professional thing I can do. So I ended up reading law. I decided to train as a company secretary, so I had to do an accounting paper in order to qualify. And God, I cried. I cried for weeks and memorized formulas, and I eventually qualified. But I know, and I actually told myself, if I fail this the first time, that's it, I'm quitting. So thankfully, all the formulas, and I just regurgitated everything on paper and passed.
But good mnemonics, maybe.
Yeah, I had things all over the house, things on the wall, formulas, and I just thought, if you miss one thing in that formula, that's it. But thankfully, they had mercy on me and let me through. But my side hustle, the thing I used to unwind, was essential oils. So I was I'd go to work, do the company secretary thing, look at all the paperwork, and I was okay. But I used to go for evening classes where you learn how to mix body butters and oils and make soap and candles. That was my little unwinding thing on the side. Yeah. So when I got diagnosed, I had about 6 months in hospital. So I had all the time in the world. I was in isolation. And the question was, what do you want to do with your life going forward? I realized I didn't find any meaning in the job I was doing. I didn't feel I was making a difference to anybody's life. So my thing was, okay, just come out of everything and do what you love. And that's how I ended up doing skincare. And I initially did it for me, but when I saw how much good it was doing for other people, I decided to explore the business angle and see if I could reach more people through my work.
When you said that the question was, what do I want to do with my life? And that was when you were in your hospital bed. Who asked you that question, or did you ask it of yourself?
I asked myself that question. That was because I had so much time. I had so much time. I was in isolation. I didn't really have a lot of guests. So I guess I had, I had that space and the time to ask myself what life I wanted. I went from not knowing if I was going to make it or not to people hoping I was going to make it. So from oh, we're not sure what's going to happen, so, oh, you have a strong chance of surviving. And I think when I was in that space of not knowing if I was going to make it, I reflected on the life I had, reflected on my life, and asked myself what life I wanted going forward. So outside looking at my relationships, my thoughts, processes, my future, the thing was how best would I live life. I didn't want the life I had before, because cancer changes you. So I wanted a new life. I wanted to create something new, and part of creating something new was, okay, career-wise, business-wise, what do you want to do with your life? What are you going to do that will give your life meaning? And that's what I do now.
And that's quite interesting, isn't it? So it sounds like obviously the space that you had during the time of being diagnosed and obviously going through that treatment gave you some space to be able to say, what do I want to be able to do? And perhaps you then, correct me if I'm wrong, but you use the passion or maybe the hobby that you had previously to say, how can I make this into something bigger than just a sideline?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it was a big risk, and it's still a big risk, because I had no idea how, what the reception would be. I had no idea if anyone would like it. I didn't know if it was even going to be recognized. And when you think about it, I was trying to break into the beauty industry. Nobody knew who I was. And I didn't even know how they would take it. So it was a huge risk. And so I decided my thing was, if one person would be happy because of the products, and that would be my satisfaction, that would be my definition of success, would be just one person. And thankfully it's more than one person now. But yeah, I already feel successful, and I'm still taking risk every day.
Did you say you don't feel successful?
I already do feel successful, because there's been more than one. So when I hit one person, I was already successful.
Amazing. And to have that goal, to understand that that's what I want to be able to do with this work. Oh, I love it. While you're just talking, Precious, I know that Frances is here. I know she's on the webinar, but I'm working out how to get her on screen as well. So if we have a chat, and Frances, if you're able to give us a little summary in the text on the side of just what your business is and how long you've been doing it for, that would be really useful as well. And then we can read that out for everyone to see. And while we're still trying to get you on screen, we can do that. Precious, in terms of, so just remind us how many years you've been running the business now.
I incorporated the business last year, but I have been hustling business and hospital. So I only started trading properly. I know the cancer thing is like that. So I only started trading properly this year. So I think we are 7 months or so. I don't know how to count it, because I have weeks where I'm not working. I have weeks when I'm too sick to work. So I don't know how people count it, to be honest.
What amazing, actually, that's such an amazing point. I don't know how people count it. Well, and you've brought in very neatly the idea of running your business alongside a cancer experience. I mean, this is sort of so interesting, isn't it? Because we're talking, obviously, we were inspired by this chat because of Small Business Saturday. And for those of you that don't know about it, it's a day really to celebrate small businesses and people who are really hustling behind the scenes, usually on their own, or have one or two employees, or maybe an admin person, but that's it. Trying to sort of, promote the work that they do. And it might be a product that they sell, it might be products, it might be a service that they sell. But generally small businesses at anyone, am I right in it's under 15, or is it 50 employees if you're a small business? I can't remember. I think it's meant to be very, very small.
Yeah.
It's small. So Saturday was around kind of celebrating that day, and Precious kind of said, why don't we have a chat about what these small businesses are around? And of course, coming from the cancer world as well, as we do, there's an added element to running a small business after a cancer experience. What do you think people don't see about running a small business after cancer?
I always say to people, cancer has two prongs. There's a physical side and there's the mental side of cancer. And I think we focus as a society more on the physical side, and nobody talks about the behind the scenes. I think physically, most of us are so tired. It's not the normal, I'm healthy, I had a long day and I'm really knackered. It's more, you wake up tired, You wake up tired, you have to manage your time, you're panicking because you're too tired to finish tasks, you have anxiety issues, sometimes you just need to rest, and you're dealing with guilt because you have to take a break in the middle of the day. You're hustling treatment, you're hustling appointments. So sometimes, I have to take laptops. You take a laptop into hospital, you stick out your arm for bloods, and then you use one arm to type and send an email. It's what it is. It's what it is. So I guess people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. They don't understand the anxiety thing. Like I shared with you the other day, I lost 2 years and I wasn't in work for 2 years because I was going through the bulk of my treatment. I'm just, started business now, and my brain is thinking, okay, you're doing so well, but you have to make up for this year and for 2 years. And there's no way physically I can pay for 3 years, but that's what my brain is telling me at the moment. You have to get back to where you were financially. It's not easy. It's not easy. We are, constantly anxious and guilty and knackered. But we're trying. That's the beauty of it, is that we are trying, we're hustling, we are supporting ourselves, and we're not giving up. So I think we're badass.
I love that word hustle. I love the badass idea, because it's sort of behind the scenes, behind a laptop or behind a product development. It's this kind of like, I'm going to keep going. But actually what you said about making up for, do we call it lost time? I don't know, because 2 years wasn't lost. It was you getting better. It was you being in treatment. But you're making up for time that you wish you could have, I guess, been more productive in, but you weren't able to be. It's just interesting how that's probably there constantly, isn't it? It doesn't matter how well I've done, because I always want to get better than I would have done in those 2 years that I didn't work. Is that right?
Absolutely. And also on the product formulation side, I'm so new to the industry, but I have to work extra hard to be accepted by the industry. Thank God it's slowly coming. Work extra hard to educate myself. It's law to beauty is two very different things. To educate myself and stay compliant in my new industry, to network, and one of my biggest challenges with developed products is that my sense of smell and taste went. From chemo. When it came back so intense. So now I have to, so even though I make things that smell nice, I have to work with someone and work with strict guidelines. I have to set my own guidelines. I have to work with someone to keep things to everybody's normal, smell level. Yeah, because I smell everything now.
So your sense of smell has returned now, or not?
It's come back, but it's so intense. It's so, I can dissect things. If I can just dissect things, I can eat something and tell you what's underneath, what's flying underneath, what's swimming here. I can tell you. It's mad. I got paid money to test the products for a well-known cereal brand, and I was in the top. Was it the top 2 percentile? I was that good.
I mean, that's amazing. So it's
money from cancer.
Released a sense of being open and being available. I mean, that's just That's amazing. That's kind of how do I make sure that this is. So I'm just hearing actually. I think we've got Francis in the line. Is that right, Francis? Can you hear us? Oh, we can
That's
hear.
okay. We can hear you.
We can.
Hello.
Hello. Francis, I've seen that you've given us a lovely little summary in the text. Would you just verbalize that for us so we can get a sense of what your business is and there's sort of a little history to it, really. Mm. Mm. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. And Francis, am I right in thinking that you started your business as you were diagnosed with cancer? There's a very close crossover, is that right? Yeah. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Mm, mm.
Yes, absolutely. And that's so interesting. And I know that when we've spoken before, we've sort of saying actually, so for both of you, you have a
Mm.
product based organization, a small business that sells products. And I wonder how that is for you both, because we're obviously coming to a busy time of Christmas as well. But the idea of, I guess, I know less about this, far less about this, so it's interesting to learn from you about how you manage the product and developing, and I guess being the business and growing the business alongside the post-cancer experience. So Frances, you were saying you flip forward 5 years, and I look back and I think I was managing a lot. And I know, Precious, you're sort of saying similar things. How do you cope with that? How do you actually manage that whole idea of, like, got my business and my product to keep going with, but I do have tiredness, and I do have this feeling that I have post cancer.
Mm. Mm.
Is that the same for you, Precious?
Yeah, I'm rubbish. No, that's not fair. I'm learning. That's a better that's a better way. But yeah, if I'm knackered, I take a break. I don't care what time it is. I will take a break. I'm also starting to schedule things that make me happy. To break up the week. So I joined the choir for people who can't sing. And yeah, really well. I mean, look at it this way: they invited us to perform at the National Theatre, so we must be doing something good. I mean, there are people who spent all their lives singing properly and they haven't been invited, so we're making progress. But that's something I do on Wednesday. So I know every Wednesday, whatever happens, I can step back out and meet other people and socialize and sing. So I feel better on Wednesday evenings. So that's something I look forward to. My hope for next year is I'll be able to build in more of such things for my week, so I can always have an outlet to let us see. But I'm also, I also have a therapist or therapists on standby. Because sometimes I forget all this tools. So I always need people to remind me to be kind to myself, to slow down, and and to pick myself up again. And I Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, different sets of mental skills. Absolutely.
Do you
Mm.
think that, do you feel, both of you, that, I mean, there's that question around maybe, because it's very difficult, isn't it? If you start your own business anyway, outside of a cancer experience, everyone knows, you read about and you hear about from other people, it's very hard. It's juggling every part of an organization. It's not just the product or service that you know you're really good at, it's the marketing you may not have any training in, it's
Mm.
the admin behind it, it's the, I don't know, spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. Do you feel that your cancer experience has added anything to the running of your business that you may not otherwise have had? Because we know that it's hard anyway, but has it given you something that you may not have had? Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I think I would say the same thing as well. It gave me something to do. My business actually gave me something to wake up for. So took my mind off the whole cancer thing. So at least I knew if I went to hospital, I had something else to say other than sit down in the waiting room and wait to be seen, or listen to them banging about chemo and cancer. Um, but also, I think I have to thank cancer for making me who I now am. It's really changed the way I see things. It's changed my perspective, and it's also made me less afraid. Yes, I don't know a lot about the world of business. Yes, I'm still learning, but if I could survive cancer, then I can do pretty much anything. So, yeah, we'll get that. Mm.
That's that resonates definitely with my own experience too. In the sense, there's almost like a fire, isn't there, in your belly,
Yeah.
which is just, there is something about a confidence there. Now, and this is a really strange one. Confidence, I find fascinating. I'd love to know what you think, because we almost have this, I can do anything because I've got through this hideous experience. But on the flip side, it's this, who am I to do this? Because,
Yeah.
somebody else would do it so much better than me. That constant little pull. I think actually maybe you said this another time, Precious, about having that like devil and angel on your side, sort of saying, you can do this, you're amazing. No, you can't. No, you can't. Yes, you can. The idea of confidence being so much higher because of cancer, because it's gives you this sounding board, doesn't it? Launching pad, and then it also taking it away and saying, but I'm not good at this. How do you manage the idea of confidence?
Therapy. Therapy. Yeah, I mean, on one hand, when we talk about the confidence side of things, I hit rock bottom when I was sick. I reached ground zero. So I didn't, I had days when I didn't think I would ever bounce back from this. And I also had days when I thought, okay, if you've hit rock bottom, then the only way is up. So I didn't really give myself any time to sit back and be scared. It was more just jump in. If you fail, you fail. But if you win, you win. So it was just I don't know, something just broke. Something just broke in my head. And I thought, you're just going to give everything your all. If you fail, that's fine, move on. But, know that you've done it. But then there's also the not nice side saying, you have no reason to be in the beauty industry. You have no reason to be doing this. You only had chemotherapy. You didn't have breast cancer. So you're not speaking to everyone. And, but with therapy, with talking to yourself, with asking the right questions and talking to the right people, you're able to reset. So I don't know if I'll ever be free from the highs and the lows. I call running a business, like I compare it to having schizophrenia sometimes, because you're always up and down in short spaces of time. I don't know if I'll ever be free from the highs and the lows, but what I try to do is to have the tools and the resources to center me back and remind me of what I'm doing and why I do what I do. So I'm all for meditation and gin.
Do you think those tools and resources are ones that you've acquired? Do you find them from places? Do you bring them into yourself? Or do you get other people to give them to you?
I look for them anywhere. I look for them. I'm always asking questions. I'm always trying stuff. I'm so open. Someone was telling me about theta healing today. I don't know what theta healing is, but she said it gave her joy. So I've scheduled a call with I don't really know what theta healing is. I don't know what happens in a Reiki session, but if it made you happy, then we have to talk about it. So great. I'm so woo-woo these days. I'm just it's a funny thing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that can be anything to do with relaxation or easing your muscles, but it also can be mentally just a break, can't it? It can just be, this is something interesting, different that I've used,
Yeah, and I think before cancer, I would never have, I used to see people do hypnotherapy on telly and go, oh, no, I'm never going to do hypno. And then, cancer happened and I actually booked myself in for a session. And I thought, I don't really care if I start making chicken noises or if I start barking, as long as I can get some sleep. So, because I actually said to the instructor, if I bark, don't tell me anything I did while I was relaxed. Record this session, let's just get it over. I don't know if he's kept anything for future, for future evidence, but I did have a session, and all I know is that I felt much better, and I went home and I slept. So I'm so open to trying anything that will, help me relax and help me center myself. And yes, I do sound funny when I talk to to my non-woo-woo friends, because I'm all about manifesting and and stuff.
Surely there's something there about beliefs as well. And, a lot of the work I do is around supporting people in their beliefs and helping them to really feel that their beliefs are what they can be following now. You both know that I support people after cancer, and that's through coaching. And that isn't I suppose the traditional idea of coaching is that you sort of say to someone, what do you want to do and what do you want to be, and go and do it. And yes, we do that, but it's also being really, really able to get somebody to their goal in a very realistic way, and that is supporting them with the things like energy, fatigue, confidence, and all the sort of factual things about their work, their communication with others after cancer. So although this is something I support people in, it's also something I go through, and I'm pretty honest about the fact that I also have those areas where I've needed to improve and support myself better. The things you're saying earlier about having going up and down is absolutely what we go through, and who am I to say whether that's something that I would have done anyway outside of the work that I do, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I mean, it almost has that automatic connection, which is very, very important, isn't it? To hear somebody say the words that you say back, that you sometimes think might be your only your own words, and somebody saying it right in front of you. That's very powerful.
Wow. Yeah. Thanks. Mm. Yeah.
There's an automatic idea of not an acknowledgement of that information, isn't there?
Mm. Mm.
So
Yeah.
whilst we're here, and obviously we've got some people watching as well. If anyone watching has any questions for my two amazing co-hosts, then please do let us know. Are you moving or changing your own career after your own cancer experience, and do you have any thoughts or questions about that? You can pop them into the side panel where you can see some of our type there already. I think that something that I'd really like to ask you about as well, and if, by the way, if you guys have any questions, obviously we can ask them as
I
well.
do.
Oh, go ahead, Precious. What's your question?
I think my question for you, because you're always together. You know, you're always you're very together, Emily. Every time I'm about to have a meltdown, I keep thinking, but Emily is so together. Let me talk to Emily because she always has answers. It's so together. to know what to say, because I have meltdowns. So how do you manage to stay so together? Because I know you work with with lots of people, and every time you work with different people, you're taking stuff on. So how do you manage to stay so calm, so collected, so together? What's your secret?
That's really kind of you. It's not. What's my answer to that? I mean, the realistic answer to that is that I'm absolutely not. There's no way that I'm that person, either all the time or in general. I think sometimes, firstly, I suppose part of the answer is the work that I did before cancer. So I was in the NHS and did a lot of work with families and supporting people to be healthier, to feel better about their lives. So it felt like a very natural progression after my own cancer experience to move into using that past work, and that was in the NHS and in charities, into the work I do now. So it's possible. Some of that is training as well. I'd like to think that the training that I've been through helps to be grounded in a certain way. It doesn't mean that I'm like that personally all the time. You know that, Precious. I mean, it's that kind of, sometimes we also find it not easier, but we can support other people, maybe even more than we can support ourselves. So there's an element where we have to reflect back to ourselves. Often the things that we might be either suggesting or the questions we might be asking, it's really healthy to ask them of ourselves. In order to, actually the way I want to be calm this week might be something that somebody else has told me about, because we're privileged enough to know those things. In answer to your question in terms of staying sort of level, I think we've talked about this before as well, but I wasn't for a very long time. And I do reflect back on the work that I do. And I started this about a year and a half ago or so. But that's a good 4 or 5 years post my cancer experience. So for that time, which was sort of a bit of no man's land, things weren't okay at all. And that's why I didn't do the work that I do then, because I wasn't ready to. I was still going through my own stuff, and I still was processing it. And it was a very sort of selfish time, I think. I had to be there in order to get better for me and my family. But eventually was always percolating this idea of building coaching into the work, because probably for many of us, we found that there wasn't that ability. There are counsellors, and there are people who you can reflect with, but I didn't find anyone who I could go, how do I plan my life now? How do I get excited about it again?
What next?
Yeah, I just really wanted to do that. And, partly as well, that's probably some of the coaching techniques that I'll always talk with people about. I use them myself, and I use those amazing things that I probably never would have found before. So EFT, which is tapping parts of your body and saying certain phrases. I might have got into it had I not had cancer, but I certainly found it as a result of it, and found that it really helped with things like anger, with getting my heart rate down, with anxiety. That's one technique that I always turn to. Other than that, it's things like having a break, and both of you have said this. And what's interesting is we'll get the recording of this webinar, and obviously this goes out to people who have signed up as well, those watching live. I want you to listen back to this webinar, because we've all
about promising yourself a break.
Isn't it
funny?
We'll
take a break. Yeah, right. We will.
Taking a break and making sure that whilst you might seem like you're up, so I don't know if it's a revelation, but we'll all have social media accounts, right? We all have things we do in public, and then we all have our private sides to us, and we all have shutdown. And actually what we all need to be better, and I am hand on heart the same, is shutting down properly. And I that might be, yes, closing your laptop or stopping on your phone, but it also might be, as you said, Precious, finding the things that give you joy again. So very similar. I found them in the last year, the things that really give you a break, that really help you, they recharge your battery and they allow you to do the work you do. They allow you to go out and add to your production line for both of you. They probably allow me to be a better coach, because you're giving yourself that time. And there's a whole thing about self-compassion, isn't there, around mindful self-compassion. It seemingly could sound selfish because it's all about bringing love to yourself and giving yourself focus. But actually, the idea is you can't do that for other people until you can give yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Frances? How about you?
Mm. Mm.
Not today.
Oh
Oh
no.
no, it's cold outside as well. It's cold.
Yeah, I'll just add something to what Francis said on what you said as well. I mean, on the mindful self-compassion. There's also an element of accepting yourself as you are now. When I finished treatment, I lost my memory. That was one of the many things. I lost my memory. So sometimes my words are not in sync. So sometimes I just mix my tenses up and I can't really cope. And for a long time, I just wasn't comfortable about talking or being visible because I was so worried I'd come out and say the wrong things. But I started, mindfulness as well, and I starting to accept myself. And I found, even though I still notice it sometimes, other people don't have a problem understanding what I say. So I think, I can still communicate even though I'm not speaking, I'm not speaking, I've forgotten again, but they'll understand. So yeah, it's also, I think part of the whole hustle is accepting where you are now and just living, staying happy with what you've been given. I should follow my advice. Yeah. No.
I think that's a really lovely way to think of it as well, because actually it reminds us that we are. I wonder, I don't know because I'm not having the conversation with them, but other business owners outside of cancer, is there something that we always need to tell ourselves, which is we're not finished products? And even, you know, you guys do have products. They're never really going to be finished, are they? They're the product that you sell, and then you improve it and you change it. And perhaps we can take that as part of our own learning. This is the way that I do it now, but I'm always improving.
Yes. Constant work in progress. Yes.
And we've just got 5 minutes left. I would love to find out what guidance or advice you might give someone who is interested in starting their own thing after their own cancer experience.
Find what you love. So don't get sucked into the corporate side or into something that is just going to bring the money. What I found on my journey, that word, is that if you find what you love, that will actually keep you going. So find something you love doing. If you have to retrain to do it, then do what you have to do, but let it be something you're passionate about. Because business is not easy, it's not glamorous, but the passion will keep you going. Ask for help. It's not, you're going to need a tribe of people to support you through this one. If you need therapy, get it. And just invest in yourself. Learn as much as possible. Give yourself a break. You're not going to learn everything in one hit, especially if you're in my shoes and you're switching industries. You're not going to learn everything in one hit. You're not going to win at everything in one go either. So you could do so well. I mean, at the moment, our PR is the shizzles right now because we're doing so well on the PR front. But I can tell you something like SEO. I have no clue in SEO. So I've paced myself. I have decided to pace myself and say, okay, this year I've won on the PR front, but SEO I haven't won. So I've taken time out to learn about the SEO and then Google stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to be patient with yourself. You're not going to win every single area in one hit. And if you run a business, you're wearing so many different hats. Be patient. And look for people that can help you, people who know what they're doing in the different areas you don't know, and work with them. And network. And every time you go networking, tell them you need help. Okay. Mm. Yeah. Mm. Precious way. Yeah. Yeah, and also pick your tribe wisely as well, because you need people around you who are going to help you and encourage you and motivate you to reach your goals. So I have Emily in my tribe. It's me, and Emily, she's the one I talk to when the chips are down, and I've decided to just focus on building a network of people who understand where I'm going and who can supports me. If you're lucky enough, you will get those people for free, but there are some people you're going to have to part with money to get. Look for them. Look for them, cut good deals with them, but you need to have a good support system, because it's not, I think being in business is very lonely. That's the honest truth, but you surround yourself with the right people, you'll be fine. And good luck to whoever wants to join the business.
I loved, certainly what resonates with when you say about, about being where you're at is really important. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing, because actually you've got your idea, you've got your vision for it, you know how you're going to make it work. And even earlier, I was going to ask you a question, we don't really have time now, but even calling it a business is quite hard, isn't it? This is my passion. So how do I actually make it a business? But it's that idea of yes, it's part of your passion. So being able to say, it doesn't matter what other people's passions are, this is mine, and I'm so strong about it, I'm going to do it as a business, as an entity, as an enterprise, whatever you want to call it. Thank you so much to both of you. I can't see any questions coming in on the screen, so we'll just round up a little bit. Is there just anything you'd like to say as a closing statement, point, anything? Really?
Yeah.
Anything?
I love that. I'd say take as much time as you need to heal. That's my thing. And don't think you're going to heal overnight and start something. You might, there will be the healing after cancer, and then there'll be the healing alongside running the business. So if just see yourself as a work in progress, and don't give yourself a time limit to heal. So take every single day as it comes, and love and accept yourself as you take each day. I should really take my own advice.
Well, we'll download the webinar, we'll clip it, and then we'll send you the video.
I should take my advice about not setting time limits for healing, because sometimes you speak to people and they go, "Oh, you're in remission, so you must be ready to go. You must be ready to rock it." And I'm thinking, actually, yeah, it's been 4 years. I should be okay by now. Should be. And then 1 minute later, I'm having a big meltdown. I'm thinking, but what happened? It's been 4 years. Everything should have been fine. But no, it doesn't work like that. So
the time you need, whatever your body and your brain is saying, is probably what you're able to do, right? Listening to yourself, because that will make you better at your business ultimately. Amazing. I'm so grateful to you both for being here. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm so sorry we haven't been able to see you, Frances, but we've heard.
But we heard your voice.
We heard your voice. Photoshop your image onto the thing. If anyone's watching, you'd like to ask any of us any questions outside of the webinar, but on, when this goes on YouTube or whatever, then please do. You can always drop me an email. It's emily@coachingemily.com, and I can put you in touch with these two amazing women. And we've got Brilliant So Precious has put her Facebook there as well. And when this goes out, we'll be able to send all our social media bits so people can see. I'm going to say goodbye and let you off. So everyone came to this with 11s. I take it you're going to go away and have some early lunch now. I hope that's what you're going to do.
Breakfast for me.
Oh. Have a really lovely Monday, and I look forward to seeing you all again. And thank you everyone who's been watching live as well. See you later.
Bye everyone. Thank you for joining us. Bye bye.